Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch Show, Michelle Obama goes on a racist rant, and it's important because she may be a candidate for president in 2028. We have ICE continuing to be assaulted, not only physically, but now verbally and threatened in Philly. Oh, yeah. And we're going to introduce you to a new dangerous Democrat named Jennifer. So get ready, because it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. We have a good show for you again today. I want to start off by saying, please, if you are on Facebook or if you are on YouTube and you're watching the show, please right now hit the share button. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Help us spread the news because people need to know what's going on. And if there's one thing that I've seen in the past 24 hours, people are not being told what's going on. Yesterday, I did a video, and it went extremely viral. In fact, it's been shared, I think, close to 10,000 times or more on Facebook, already well over 250,000 views. It's less than maybe 12 hours old. And on X, the way that X works is that the algorithm will show you what's trending. And this story was at the top of the trending. And when you clicked on the story, my video was at the top of it. So it, too, has been watched. I think we're going up at about 500,000 times at this point. There was a killing, a murder in Florida. And the killer, his name is Ahmad Jihad Boja. And not kidding, his middle name is Jihad. 3 white men, I believe 2 of them were 70, one was 69, 2 of them were brothers, the other guy was one of their best friends. They come down to Orlando area and on vacation, they have a house rental. They come outside, and Ahmad Jihad shoots them dead. Imagine this. Imagine you're on vacation, you're retired, you're just looking to go 3 guys to hang out. Who knows? Maybe play a little golf, maybe go walk around Epcot Center at Disney, have a couple of cocktails, as you walk around, and it's just a fun time. Imagine being the wife or the family member who's back at home. I believe it was Ohio and Michigan where these men are from. And you get a phone call that says that your husband or your brother or your father is dead. And you can't understand why. Was it a car accident? Was there a fire? What happened? Did he have a heart attack? No. He was shot by a guy named Ahmad Jihad. Well, why? Was there a confrontation? Nope. No confrontation. Just shot by Ahmad Jihad. And then you ask yourself, wow, how the hell did that happen? Well, it doesn't make sense, Mr. Officer. Why? How? Can you give me anything? Who is Ahmad Jihad? And then you're told that in 2021, Ahmad Jihad was shooting at people. But that a judge let this person go based on an insanity plea. And that's why they're free. So just a couple of years ago, this guy was shooting at people. And he's allowed out in the streets. Ahmad Jihad. 3 men who probably lived their life really hard, working hard, trying to raise their families, do whatever, are now dead for multiple reasons. Number one is because we continue to allow jihadis into this country. And then what happens? They metastasize because they just pump out baby after baby after baby after baby. And if you don't think it's a problem, go look at the UK. Used to be filled with Englishmen, Christians. The churches in England are less than they were 20 years ago, and the mosques are just going wild, doubling, tripling. The number one baby name for newborns in the UK, not Oliver, Mohammed. We are replicating what's happening in the UK. We got 3 dead men, and here is the additional insult. Not that it was just bad enough that this psychotic idiot was allowed out by some radical judge based on an insanity plea, but this guy's arrest record indicates that he's white. And so many of the media outlets will not mention his middle name is Jihad. Folks, I have been coming to you with this for nearly 20 years. And it never, ever fails. Every single day that I try to sit down and do this show, I mean, we have a process to which we go through to pick out stories and give you the information that we think that you want to know, that you want to share. And there's nothing more that I want to do than hit a different topic. It's like Groundhog's Day. But how do I not start this show by telling you yet another incident where the political correctness and why we turn a blind eye to Islam is literally ripping this country to shreds. It's like every day. It's Muslim, illegal, ICE. And then we just switch. ICE, illegals, Muslim. This is a severe problem. The reason why I'm sitting at the top of the Twitter feed, the reason why you've shared that video 10,000 times is because the outrage among Americans is just immeasurable. Nobody signed up for this, man. Nobody signed up for this. I don't know a single American. I've never met a single person in my 56 years that has come up to me and said, you know, man, I think you're hitting the pedal a little hard. Well, what do you mean I'm hitting the pedal a little hard? Come on. I'm happy the illegals are here. I'm happy we're taking in more Muslims and Islam. The mosques don't bother me. They're beautiful structures. You ever see all the nice, beautiful curves? Not one. Not one. I've had people say to me, I don't know, DML. The DACA thing doesn't bother me how much. You know, these kids were brought over here through the border or whatever it may be. It wasn't a choice of their own. They had no choice. You know what I mean? I feel bad for some of these kids. You want to make that argument? I'll listen to it. I'm going to come back at you and say that I got American kids who want to live the American dream. I don't want to hear how those kids are the dreamers. My kid's a dreamer. Your kid's a dreamer. I don't want to hear about their dreams. I feel bad. But I can't take care of everybody around the world. I got kids who have flies on their head every single other day in Africa. I can't help them. I got to help my own kids. You know, call Michelle Obama. Maybe she can help. We're going to get to her in a second. I always say these words, if I were president. I don't know why I say them. I don't know why it comes out of my mouth. I really don't. I use it as I guess, in a certain degree, a metaphor. I use it as just an example to tell you where I stand on things. But man, let me tell you something. If I were the president of the United States right now, and this is not a critique on Trump, you know, if Trump orders McDonald's for lunch, I'm not going to rag on him for what he ordered. I'm just going to order something different because I'm thinking differently. What's best for me and what I would like to put into my body. I'm not criticizing. You eat McDonald's all you want. My grandfather was 95 when he died. He drank. He ate mayonnaise on everything. I'm not going to tell President Trump what he should and shouldn't do. The guy's got more energy at almost 80 years old than half the 30-year-olds I know. So I'm not criticizing him when I say this. I'm simply telling you what I would do if I were the president of the United States. And I think a lot of the American citizens would agree with me, and I would imagine that 95% of the people who are listening right now or watching this program right now would agree with me. I would not be focusing on Greenland. I wouldn't give a rat's ass about Greenland right now. I would take one of my middle managers in the White House and say, go do an analysis on Greenland. Tell me what I got to do to take it over if I need it, and if I even need it. I don't need the distraction unless it is completely necessary. I have to stop the Islamic takeover of this country, and I need to get rid of all the illegal aliens that are in this country, and I have to do it at a better, faster, more effective pace than what has been happening. Because I have known ever since 9/11, when I watched people jump from those towers, I have known ever since the time I made my first film a few years later, and I saw Tom Waddell standing on a corner outside a 7-Eleven in Southampton, New York, holding a sign that said, deport all illegals, and people throwing coffee at him. And I pull over and I say, dude, what are you doing here every day? You've been here for years. And then he points to the 200 guys standing on the corner on the other side of the 7-Eleven and says, these guys have put me out of business. They've stolen my job. I lost everything. I'm going bankrupt because I can't compete against the cheap labor. If these were 200 prostitutes, the cops would be here shutting down everything and the 7-Eleven. But because it's cheap labor, illegal labor, I'm out of business and they're allowed to operate. You couldn't sell drugs on the corner. You couldn't sell prostitution on the corner. You couldn't be a pedophile on the corner, but you could be an illegal alien. It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. And so as the president of the United States, I would focus in on making it make sense, because I know that if I don't give 100% of myself and my White House and my team to solving these two problems as I've identified, I'm going to be freaking the UK within the next 10 years. And people are going to look back and say, how did we go from the number one name being Michael and Joseph and David to Mohammed and Ahmad and Jihad? And then we'll look back and we'll say, you know what? Nobody listened to that guy DML when he was talking all the time. If we don't address this now, at this very point in time, at the level to which I talk about it almost on a daily basis, mark this video today. Put it in the save bin. Do whatever it may be. I don't know how far we're into the show right now. What, 16 minutes? Look at the 16-minute mark. If we do not solve these problems now, full-throated, full throttle, in 10 years from now, the number one name in the United States will be Muhammad for newborn children. I would bet the farm. The farm. You know, today's a rough day because the things that I want to say on this program need to be said. And they need to be said without apology, without fear, and truthfully, without repercussion. But there is a total double standard in this country. If you are white, if you are Christian, whether you are male or female, doesn't matter. If you're a female white Christian and you want to stand up for what you believe in and where you think the country's going to the hell in a handbasket, you're called a Karen. If I say what needs to be said, I'm called a racist. But Michelle Obama, she doesn't have to follow those same rules. No, she gets to make her own rules. The most spoiled black woman in America, and I know some people say she's not a woman. I'm not going to get into that. I'm only going to tell you what I know for certain about Michelle Obama. As of 2026, the estimate of Michelle Obama's worth is anywhere between $70 million to $135 million. Did she get there because As a little girl, she had plans of being a fashion designer? Did she start a business and sell it? Did she hire hundreds of American workers and put them to work and create and innovate and do something that gives back to the public good? Not at all. Not at all. She hooked up with a guy named Barack Insane Obama, also known as Barry. And because Barry is a liar and a smooth-talking encyclopedia salesman, he wound up becoming the president of the United States, coupled with white guilt. And so this woman has become worth $100 million estimated. Who knows, maybe it's even more. Why? Because she slept with Barack Obama. And she became the vice president. She has no accomplishments to her name. She had 8 years in the White House. 8 years. And what did she do? Her biggest accomplishment is that she was on 15 major magazine covers because of her fashion choices. That's the most that any first lady has ever been on covers of magazines. It's white guilt. We got to stop being guilty. We've done nothing wrong. We built this country. You could look at everything you want to look at. The most beautiful accomplishments, the most beautiful monuments, the most beautiful buildings, the most innovative tools. It's been created by the white guy. Does that make me racist? If I tell you that the sun rises on the east and sets on the west, am I being racist to the west because I'm putting it second? I'm just telling you the facts. Michelle Obama and her husband, Barack, or Barry, have a $50 million deal with Netflix. They put out a movie. I don't remember the name of the movie. You remember the name of the movie where it was something about there was going to be a terror attack or something like that? The whole thing was based on racism. The whole thing. And it was just sickening. And I remember looking at my wife because I didn't know it was Barack Obama's film. What was it called?
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind. And it was over. I said, my God, what a racist freaking film this is. And then my wife told me, you know, this is Barack Obama's. No shock there. Michelle Obama earned $36 million for a book called Becoming. Becoming what? What's the subtitle? Becoming a racist? Is that the lesson? That's what really the lesson is from Michelle Obama. If you're a black girl, become a racist. And sleep with a bunch of guys because you never know. You may get the next guy who's going to be the president through white guilt. I'm furious. I'm going to play a video for you right now. I watched this yesterday. I had to watch it 3 times. And then after that, I had to sit back in my chair and just take a deep breath. Because she gets away with saying things that other people lose their careers and reputation for. The double standard is unbelievable. So Michelle Obama has a podcast. She's on this podcast sitting with 3 other black women, and they're talking about designer clothes. And she is going to emphasize how important it is to her that she buys clothes from black people, and the people who represent her in her closet have to be black. Play the video, Ryan.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. Right. You know, I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes. You know, what does our closet look like and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it? Right. You know, and I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, mm-hmm. then you have the money to buy everybody. Right. And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Melania Trump got on and said, hey, I'm a supermodel, and the one reason why I'm a supermodel is because I've always made sure that I've gotten my clothes from white designers because black designers just, you know, they just can't get it done. Can you imagine if that happened? Do you know how many white people have been fired for making comments that would be somewhat in the same bucket as Michelle Obama? And let me tell you why this is important. I had somebody earlier today, because I did my morning video on Facebook about this very topic. I do a 3-minute video every single day. And somebody said, "Oh, Dennis, come on, we need real news. Why are you doing this? We all know she's irrelevant." No, you're making a mistake, ma'am. The reason why this is important is because this woman at some point in her life is going to recognize that she still has enough clout to where she could run for the presidency. And at some point, she's going to get bored podcasting, and the money ain't going to mean anything anymore because the novelty is going to wear off. And Barack is going to sit there and say, "Michelle, our legacy can be that we were the most powerful political couple in American history." And she's going to run for president. It's these videos that are going to help us keep her from there. I'm going to remind you of some white people who were fired, lost their whole careers, or at least in part for a while, because of what it is that they said that was somewhat similar to what Michelle did. Remember a guy named Jimmy the Greek? He was a football commentator. Dennis, what did Jimmy the Greek say on television that got him, fired from NFL?
Yeah, he was fired from the NFL and CBS for making remarks about black athletes being physically superior, such as complimenting that they have high and big thighs.
So he gave a compliment to the muscular structure of the black male anatomy, and he got fired. Imagine what would have happened if Jimmy the Greek said, "I only buy my ties and suits from white manufacturers." Who else? Give me the next person.
Megyn Kelly was fired from NBC over accusations of using blackface for a Halloween costume.
Yeah. So Megyn Kelly says that it's not a big deal if you wear blackface, if you want to be Michael Jackson or, Don King for Halloween. What's the big deal? Michael Jackson, what's the big deal? She gets fired for it. Imagine if Megyn Kelly said, "Yeah, I pick out all of my podcast outfits from only white designers." Know who's representing you in your closet. Give me the next one.
Roseanne Barr was fired by ABC from her own sitcom, Roseanne, after posting a tweet comparing Valerie Jarrett, who was a black former advisor to President Obama, to a character from Planet of the Apes.
Next one.
Paula Deen, despite having a substantial contract with the Food Network, she was dropped by them after it was admitted she used the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan was also...
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was also removed from the Hall of Fame after there was a leaked audio of him using the N-word and making remarks about not wanting his daughter to date black people.
Well, I will attest to the same thing. I wouldn't want my daughter marrying a black male. And let me tell you why, in part, that is. Michelle Obama had an opportunity. She had a great opportunity, and she squandered it. The black community has forever been a problems community. Some people escape it. Ben Carson's one of them. Many people escape it, I should say. But so many do not. And there are reasons why. And the statistics are just earth-shattering. I felt as if you would want to know this. When it comes to abortions, black women have more abortions than any other demographic. In fact, they almost hit the number of white women and Hispanic women combined. Okay. High school graduation, black students, 20% of black students do not graduate even high school. It is the worst demographic out of all the demographics. Asian, Hispanic, white, black, you name it. They're always doing the worst. Fatherless homes, which is incredible. Black families, over 50% of the families do not have a black father at home. That it almost triples that of white families. Business rate failures. Michelle, 65% of black-owned businesses fail by the second year. The number is so much higher than that of any other demographic. 8 out of 10 black-owned businesses fail within 18 months. Yeah. Violent crime. Blacks are 13.4% of the population, but they account for 51% of the murder arrests, 46.5% of the juvenile violent crime arrests, and 51% of robbery arrests. Think about that. You take up 13% of a demographic of a population, and yet you are at half or more of the problems caused in this country. Overall, violent crime arrest rates per 100,000 were higher for blacks than for other groups. So Michelle Obama, instead of going in to the black communities and trying to tell young girls not to lay down and spread your legs at 14 years old for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to come in and touch you, instead of turning around and having an abortion every other frickin' month, instead of being a person who's sitting there making videos of yourself twerping or twerking or whatever the hell they call it when they look like they're friggin' acting like prostitutes, what about getting some class? What about taking your education, Michelle, and going into those areas so this way you can help these people win? Instead of cherry picking once in a while a person who breaks out and you're going to make sure you buy their clothes. What does that do for the rest of the black population? And, then you get guys like myself. I've gone into South Chicago, the most dangerous place you could possibly go, interviewing black folks. Not that I had to, not that I wanted to, but I went in there because I said, why is this problem happening? Why is it that every black freaking neighborhood always looks like Afghanistan and Lebanon had a baby? I had work done here at the house going back about a month and a half ago. I had a white guy come to the house and a black guy came to the house. They both gave me estimates. They both told me who they thought was, what they were going to do. And I had to think out, who do I think is going to do the better job for me? I hired the black guy, not because he's black, not because I hated the white guy, not because I wanted to change the statistics, but because the guy had talent and because I knew he was going to do a good job. And he did a fantastic job. Why can't Michelle Obama live that same way where she doesn't look at color? Instead, she looks at talent. Why can't Michelle Obama put her influence into trying to help a community that is literally destroying so many different lives, including the lives of their own? Somebody's got to call them out. And you know what? Let's never forget something that's very important. Because of her husband, Barack Obama, and his racism, I don't know if you remember this or not, but going back, during Barack Obama's presidency, he and Eric Holder sent a letter to all the public schools threatening that they were going to lose their funding and that there would be prosecutions if they continued to punish minority and black children for the crimes and the things that they did within school grounds, because they were disproportionately punished compared to the white kids. Well, because they're doing the disproportionate crimes. So schools didn't want to lose their funding, didn't want to get in trouble. They pulled back. They don't freaking go after kids anymore because they're Latino or they're black. And what do you get? You get crews going in there and shooting and killing 17 people in Parkland. Barack Obama has the blood on his hand for that one. This is the Democrat Party. And if Michelle Obama is so dead set on highlighting designers, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a designer right now, and she happens to be white. She is a train wreck, this woman. Her name is Jennifer Welsh. She's a reality TV show star on Bravo because she was an interior designer. She is the most radical Democrat I've seen in a long time. Here is a video she just put out warning about how it is that Democrats best go after Republicans when they get back power in the midterms and in 2028. This is frightening, folks. Play it.
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk big balls and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingeroners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former MPD police officer who almost got killed on January 6th. You know, he said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this
monthly 50,000 to 100.
John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this country. And Donald Trump sure as shit should not be above the law in this country. And I think the Democrats have to talk about it in these terms, that, listen, if we get back in there, and I'm not saying I'm part of the Democratic Party, but I'm saying that this is the way the Democrats should communicate. They should say when they're back in there, if you guys are going to cling to this idea that Donald Trump is unaccountable, it's just not going to work. And that means adding seats to the Supreme Court so that immunity decision can be overturned. And so Donald Trump can be held accountable for his crime.
I'll tell you, there was just a comment here. I have to read it. To soothe my own ego, comes from a Dolores. She says, DML is and always has been the best for news and delivering the absolute truth. And I appreciate that. That is one of the greatest comments somebody can give me, because if you think it's easy to have to sit here and highlight Michelle Obama and highlight these radical Democrats and tell the truth about it, believe it or not, our country now comes with risk. There's risk associated with telling the truth. And it's a perfect comment, because the next video from this Welsh woman only further supports what I'm saying about how dangerous the Democrats are. Listen to what she wants to do with Jesse Waters. Play it.
Go after these MAGA men. One example would be Jesse Waters. Mm-hmm. This man talks incessantly about masculinity. Joe Biden is not masculine because he sucks on soup. What kind of man sucks on a straw? He goes on and on and on so much about the idealized man. And that's a part of fascism, this, propelling this form of toxic masculinity. Why are you so obsessed with men, Jesse Waters? What's all that about? Mm-hmm. Why are you so obsessed with trans people? Why are you thinking about genitals all the time? Kind of flip the script.
I play this woman because she is up and coming. Her podcast is getting more viewers and more listeners every day, and that's because she's more out there than maybe some of the other leftists. And that's the problem. The Democrat Party and the Democrat voters are so freaking out there. So here she is. She's talking about how she wants the Democrat Party to get back in power and go on the attack. Just don't go after Trump and put him in jail. Just don't go after Hegseth and Rubio and Kristi Noem and put them all in jail. Go after the Jesse Waters. We need to take their voices out. Yeah. I'll tell you this one. Charlie Kirk was killed on September 10. 10 days prior to him being killed. This is what this woman, Welsh, had to say on live television about Charlie Kirk. Play it.
Charlie Kirk, this is my prime example of MAGA men operating in fear. He is the biggest titty baby on the planet. Last month, he
just defined for us. I was going to say, can you define that? Can we get a quick sidebar titty baby definition?
Titty baby is a southern phrase, with the baby on the boob that never weans. Okay, so Charlie Kirk is the biggest titty baby. He was in New York City a few weeks ago, and he put on his Twitter, that guy who's giving Taylor
Swift unsolicited advice. He put, I've been in New York all weekend and I haven't felt safe once. And I'm like, I've been in New York for 5 days. I've ridden the subway. I've been all up and down. I haven't felt unsafe. Not one time, Charlie Kirk. But these men advertise their cowardice. What he did, that was a profile in cowardice. We should give him an award for that. That is the most pathetic thing.
When when Charlie Kirk was murdered 10 days later after she said that he was a despicable human being, what did she have to say about Charlie Kirk being murdered?
This is a quote from Jennifer Welch. The person I heard that justified his death was him, meaning Charlie Kirk. He's the one that said on tape that if school kids die, but it means he gets to have a Second Amendment, then that's what it's going to be. He's the one that justified it.
So, folks, let me tell you, I repeat what I've said here. The Democrat Party is very, very dangerous. And the reason why I play these videos for you today is not for sensationalism or for clicks or for your own enjoyment to sit there and say, yeah, they're crazy. We already know that. Why I'm playing this is because I want you to realize that the one way that we may be able to keep the Democrats from regaining power, starting with the midterms and then in 2028, is President Trump needs your support in getting pressure to be placed on the Republican Senate to invoke the nuclear option for the filibuster. We can't get election laws put into place. We can't get certain aspects of the Make America Great Again agenda, America First agenda, put into place because we have radical GOP senators that want Trump to be eliminated from office. They don't want him in there. They don't want anybody like him ever coming back. They are running out the clock as if this was a football game, and they say, we're okay with the loss. We're just not going to go for the win. Let's just kind of keep it as a tie. And yeah, if the Democrats take back control, we'll regroup and we'll have a new establishment guy come in there. And that's how it is that we'll get our country back to being driven by the deep state and by the elitists. The only way to get this done, and we have very little time left on the clock, is we have to nuke the filibuster, which would then make it to where all we needed was 50 votes in order to get something passed, because even if you have a tie, J.D. Vance has the deciding vote. All we need is 50 votes to get things like voter ID and restrictions on mail-in ballots. There's so many different things that Trump would be able to do if he had a Congress that would work with him. That's why I show you these videos, because as free as you feel today, as heartwarming as it is that we had a guy who was shot in the head, got up and said, fight, 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 and we won the election. And yes, things are getting better in many different areas, moving slower than we want. But look, Trump's going up against his own party in many cases. But think about what life was like just a few years ago under Biden. Think about what it was like for 8 years under Barack Obama. We're one election away from having people like Michelle Obama and Jennifer Welch being two of the most powerful women in the country again. Speaking of ICE and the Democrats, we have been reporting to you about what's going on in Minnesota, and we're not going to show you more riots. You've already seen enough of that. It's the same thing, just repeated and rinsed. But I feel that it's worth showing how disgusting some people are and how it is that they continue to push for illegal immigration to be prominent in this country, and how ICE is meant to be the big bad boogeyman broadcast on news, broadcast online. These men and women are just trying to carry out the laws, keep people safe from very dangerous people, and yet people with incredible followings, even if they are somewhat irrelevant at this point, their followings are still huge and the shares still go wild. Ellen DeGeneres is one. Listen to the sort of message that this woman is putting out about ICE. Play it.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say I am so sorry for what is happening in Minneapolis and our country, really, but specifically Minneapolis right now, because it's where I shot my last stand-up special, and everybody there couldn't have been more lovely. I shot it there because they say it's the happiest city in America, and I found that to be true. So my thoughts and my prayers are going out to everyone, and I'm proud of everyone who's protesting peacefully, and I am sorry for anyone who has been hurt just for protesting, for doing what you should be doing. Anyway,
For protesting? Raiding a church while it's in progress? Going into a church while a pastor is giving a sermon? That's protesting? Beating the crap out of people, like I showed you yesterday? Throwing things, making them bleed? Stabbing them? Beating them in a mob mentality? Going up and screaming at little children? Putting profanity in their face? Threatening their parents in front of them? Making them cry? That's protesting? These people are freaking deranged. But you know, the problem is this. For some unknown reason, and I don't have the answer for you folks, I don't have the answer. For some unknown reason, our Justice Department and the Republican Party will not hold people accountable at the level that they should be. For some reason, I don't know if it's fear, I don't know what it is, but nobody ever gets in trouble for anything. Don Lemon yesterday was a major part of rioters going in and basically upending a church. He live streams it. He comments on it that it's beautiful, and that's what protesting is, making people uncomfortable. What? That's not protesting. That's a riot. And yesterday we told you on the show all about the FACE Act. And unfortunately, the FACE Act, although it was applied to protect churches and to protect abortion clinics, it only ever gets applied to people who stand in front of the abortion clinics, never to anybody who raids inside of a church. So we were all hopeful that Don Lemon would actually be an example made. Don't do what he just did. You're not allowed to do that. That goes against the FACE Act. It's a $250,000 fine and 10 years in jail. But instead of getting arrested, what did Don Lemon get?
He was put on notice by Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon.
He was put on notice. He was put on notice. Put on notice. I think I've done that to my kids a couple of times. If you lie to me again, you're going to be punished for a week. Yeah. If, my wife puts me on notice all the time. If you don't put that toilet seat down, I ain't making you breakfast ever again. That's what we did to Don Lemon. We empowered him. And what does he do with that warning? He does another podcast. Play it, Ryan.
Degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
That you did when you were on CNN. Fake racism, blaming whites for things that, blacks should be blamed for, or Muslims should be blamed for, or Democrats should be blamed for. It is always the biggest threat to the United States is the white Christian male. And we know that that is total BS, but yet that's the narrative that continues to play. and it plays far and wide. And believe it or not, the Democrats have tremendous platforms still to this day to where those messages can continue to go. This is why the country continues to fall into a deeper abyss, because we don't hold people like Don Lemon accountable. That is not journalism, what he just showed by raiding in a church. That's activism. There's a distinct difference between the two. Now, with that said, I want to turn the attention back to what really matters most, and that's ICE. So the strategy here, from what I've been able to ascertain, and I hope this strategy changes a bit. We lost our feed on Facebook, by the way. I hope the strategy changes. ICE has been going in city to city to city. I'm hoping that when we do the hiring of the 100,000 people who applied for the ICE jobs, that we're going to do it on a blanket where we're going into all cities at the same time. But I guess because of resources, we're going city to city to city. And there have been thousands of people in Minnesota from the last report I read. I can't confirm it because I haven't looked on the DHS website, but I thought I saw something that said that it's been thousands of people who have been arrested, illegal aliens. Well, the next place they're going is Philadelphia. And I'm telling you, if you thought Minnesota has been problematic for ICE and Border Patrol, Philly is going to be 3 times as bad, because they have 3 times the radicals and 3 times the violent crime, at least, if not more. In fact, I told you the other day that Philadelphia is ranked number 9 in the U.S. for crime. And they've got a DEI hire as the sheriff there who can't even speak a full sentence. But nonetheless, what you have here is you have a video that you need to see, because this is going to be the foreshadowing of what's to come. Here is a radical leftist literally threatening the head of Border Patrol. Play it.
Greg Bavino says that once ICE is done in Minneapolis, they're going to go to Philly next, which, holy shit, that is certainly a fucking choice, my dude. At least we know where you're going to end up, about 4 feet shorter with your head on a pike.
So right there, he's threatening to literally kill Border Patrol. And, I hope this guy now is on a list, and I know the list is long, and I know it's not easy to follow and track all these people. But at the end of the day, this is what our ICE agents are up against. And if you don't think Philly is just as radical as Minnesota, you are wrong. I don't know who this young man is, but this young man obviously speaks a lot about the problems with illegal immigration and Islamic people coming over here and doing things like Ahmad Jihad that I explained earlier today. But this video here, for people who are simply just listening to the show, there is a young man about in his 20s, and he seems to be at least recording whatever it is that he's recording, and he's on it looks like a bus line, and he is just randomly attacked for no reason by a minority girl in Philadelphia who literally pepper sprays him because he's expressing his First Amendment rights. Play it.
Shit about Islamic people, you talk shit about black people, you talk shit about Mexicans, and you post it on the internet.
Come here. What am I? Oh, he doesn't want to be on camera now. Why not? Whoa. I'll record. All right. Yeah. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? I mean, you're so good. What am I?
Oh, are you still gonna film me?
Whoa, don't do that. Whoa. Now am I a fascist? Whoa! See this? She got off the back of my head with pepper spray. That was interesting. She's still there.
Fuck you! And
why?
Fuck the shit that you do.
She's coming back. You're gonna get fucking. Okay, so her name's Paulina. Paulina Reyes. There she is. You want to wait? You want to hang out for the cops? She's coming back. Yeah, she's gonna wait for the cops. She's coming back.
Fascist, and you fucking harass people.
You want to hang?
That's your fucking problem.
You want to hang out for the cops?
How am I a racist?
You want to hang out?
How are you a racist? How are you a racist on the fucking internet?
Whoa. Whoa.
Go and see.
Why are you so mad?
Why? Because you talk shit about Islamic people, you talk shit about black people, you talk shit about Mexicans,
When?
and you post
Whoa.
it on the internet.
Come here. Right here. You good? Second pepper spray, baby. Better than ever. If you would like to contribute.
So there you go. That is what you're up against. Now, that young man is, I'm assuming, I don't know who he is, but I'm assuming he is constantly highlighting the issues with illegal immigration and some of the Islamic practices. And I commend him for as long as he does it in a way that is literally just presenting the facts versus trying to instigate. And I don't know what his approach is, but I know what mine is. Mine is to always highlight for you what they do. I don't make things up. I don't tell lies. It's not propaganda. I wish these videos didn't exist, but they do. Last week, I had on this show, I interviewed Brigitte Gabriel. She is the founder of Act for America. She was born in the Middle East, Islamic scumbags, because she's Christian. They did horrible things to her. She had to live in a concrete room, basically in a basement, for 7 years, from the time she was 10 to 17. And I asked her why, Act for America. She tries to warn against Islam and what it's capable of doing. And I asked her at the end of the interview why she's so passionate and why she's been doing this for so many years, because she's 61 years old. She's been doing it for decades. And I caught her. She had to catch her breath. She wasn't expecting the question. I asked her if she has a PTSD. Why is it that you're so passionate? And she almost started crying. And she told the story about how every single day in the shower, when she looks at the scars on her body, she's reminded of what these people are capable of. And in order to make a great America for her daughter and for the other daughters and the other American children, she wants to try to protect them from Islamics. And that's why she always shines a light on what these people are all about. So when I see a young man like that, and if he is another voice of reason to highlight what they do, whether it's Ahmad Jihad shooting 3 innocent white men for no reason in Florida, or if it's a video like this one that Brigitte Gabriel just posted to her Instagram yesterday, and I said, Brigitte, I'm going to play this on my podcast so more people can see what the Islamic religion is all about and how it is that women are treated. Because keep in mind, that video I just showed you, the bus, that is a woman who is trying to defend Islam from a white kid who probably is doing nothing different than what I'm doing in terms of just highlighting the videos that they make and they post. Here is a grotesque video for people who are listening only of an Islamic man, seems like an Ayman, is pounding the top of a woman's head for some sort of ritual I don't understand. Play it.
Ya Allah. يا الله دمار بكري وعمليات فايبل يا الله يا الله دودكم راجل وننزل من القرآن ما وشفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا بإذن إخواني أي دمار كجداي بكري.
There you go. If here's the crazy thing. If you were to video something like that in a Catholic church or in a Baptist church or in a school or anywhere, there would be an investigation, no doubt on a local level, maybe on a state level, and who knows, maybe the DOJ, for abuse of women, assault. But because it's in the Muslim community and because they allow that sort of thing, we turn a blind eye to it. And that's why this continues to metastasize. And that's why I told you that if we don't do something about this soon, 10 years from now, Mohammed will be the #1 name for babies born in the United States. And if you don't believe me, just look at the UK, because had somebody said this to them 20 years ago in the UK, they would have laughed at that story. They're not laughing anymore. They're crying. At the end of the show, whenever we get a chance, we usually do a little segment called The Crazy Left, where we highlight a video of something and you just say to yourself, oh my goodness gracious, how can that be happening? Well, I think I did that for the entire show here. So I'm going to make a little bit of a shift. I don't know if this is just the crazy left or this is crazy. Even though I disagree with Michelle Obama and I disagree with Don Lemon and I disagree with Jennifer Welsh and the majority of what they say, Don Lemon, notwithstanding him raiding a church, as far as I'm concerned, but the things he has to say, although I don't agree with anything Welsh has to say, or any of them for that matter, the United States of America gives them the right to say it. And if there's any speech that should be protected more than any other form of speech, it should be hate speech. I post things all the time, even today's show. If I go and I look at some of the comments that will be on the live feed, especially on Facebook, I'll wind up getting that I'm a scumbag. I'll be called 4-letter words, some of the worst words you could possibly imagine. It only gets more intense on X. On X, I get assaulted every single day. And what am I going to do about it? They have, just in the same way I have the freedom of speech and the freedom of posting what I feel, even if it's something that I disagree with or I don't like, or you could even use the word hate. Yes, I hate the idea that Islam is spreading throughout the United States. There's no doubt in my mind. I hate the fact that the Democrats continue to use lawfare against the Republicans and conservatives in this country. You should be able, if I want to say I hate pizza, I should be able to say I hate pizza. If I want to say I hate a person, I should be able to say I hate a person. That is the freedom of speech. If you call for violence or you call for lies, like there's a fire in a movie theater, of course, that is not what I'm talking about. But if somebody wants to be anti or pro-Israel, if somebody wants to be anti or pro-LGBTQ, if somebody wants to be anti or pro-Palestinian, they should be allowed to write that. They should be able to publish a video about it for as long as it's not calling for violence. There's a video going wild on X right now. It's from Miami. And the mayor of Miami allegedly didn't like what somebody had written on social media about how the mayor goes about things with LGBTQ and Palestinians and blah, blah, blah. And 2 police showed up to the door to speak about this. When I see these videos like this happening, and it happened in Texas, I get concerned because that's what's happened in the UK. In the UK, you can now go to jail for things that you post. We've all heard the stories about how it is that Muslim men have either raped or beaten girls or done whatever, and then the girls say something about whoever they are and what they did, and the girl gets a greater sentence than the person who committed the crime. I mean, you'll get knocks on your door that you wrote something like, hey, we shouldn't be taking in all these migrants. They're destroying our country. That will now put you in jail for hate speech in the UK. And when I see the video that I see right here, I don't care if it came from a Republican or a Democrat. You can't be sending people, cops, to try to intimidate people, not to post things online that are just expressing their opinions, especially when those opinions are unfavorable to somebody, albeit without a threat. Ryan, play this video.
Make sure it's you. We're not sure.
Okay.
Is that your account?
I refuse to answer questions without my lawyer present. So I really don't know how to answer that question either
well,
way.
like I said, you're not going to jail.
This is freedom of speech. This is America, right?
And
And
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
We're just trying to see if it's you, because if we're not talking to the right person, we want to go see who the right person is.
Okay, how can I help you?
So pretty much it's just a statement that was made as far as,
verbatim, it says the guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians tried to shut down a theater for showing a movie that hurt his feelings and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community in any way. even leave the room when they vote and on related matters. Wants you to know that you're all welcome. Clown face, clown face, clown face. 3 days ago.
So you don't know if it was you?
I'm not going to answer whether that's me or not.
Okay.
The concerning part, and not concerning for the person who's posting it, what we're just trying to prevent is somebody else getting agitated or agreeing with the statement. We're not saying it's true or not.
Understood.
That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, that can probably incite somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. And we wanted to get your side. If it was you that posted that, I would think to refrain from posting things like that, because that could get something incited.
I appreciate your concern. I appreciate you coming out here.
Okay?
That's it?
That is it.
Okay.
I'm going to maintain my amendment rights to not answer the question about whether or not that's right. I hope that's understandable.
All right, we appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
Day, okay?
You as well. Thank you. Take care.
You know, I think LGBTQ is an illness. You know, there's, and I have somebody in my family, I haven't seen this person in decades, but I have a cousin, and she, before all this crazy LGBTQ stuff started, she thought she was a man. And the pain in that for my family, for my uncle, was severe. And all I can remember is thinking about how mentally crazy she was. And ultimately, it's a mental illness. And it pains me to see people have to go through it. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to try to protect it, or if somebody wants to try to condemn it, they should be able to do so. They should absolutely be able to do so. Freedom of speech. You lose that, and this country is finished. And I mean finished. Doesn't matter who you have as your demographic. If we can't speak freely, then what's the point of living? This show condemns racism of all kinds. The show condemns violence. And this show condemns people being silenced. I hope you agree. I hope you share today's show. Until the next time, hopefully tomorrow, God willing, we say, God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless the United States of America.
Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News App from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and TeamDML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News App from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and TeamDML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News App from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and TeamDML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News App from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and TeamDML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News App from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and TeamDML. Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and